Game face on when I chase like that. Yeah, I play so strong with a knife in the back. I'ma swing home run like a baseball bat. Gonna see me rise, you can hate on that. I don't play both sides, doing me no cap. I'm a ride or die for my dreams on tap. I'ma fly real high, you ain't see me stack.
So, looking at the slate of upcoming movies for 2023, I'm just going to do a quick video just to talk about what I'm kind of looking forward to, what I'm not interested in, and maybe why, so you can kind of get an idea on my thoughts on this as well. I know some of you have been asking me a lot of questions, which films I'm going to be going to see. So, let's have a look. So, first of all, we've got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Now, what I have to say here about Marvel and Disney pretty much applies to a lot of these movies, so I'm not going to have to keep repeating myself. But basically, if you've been following the channel or if you've viewed any of the previous videos, we pretty much founded this channel 10 years ago during the height of the anticipation for what was to come with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the whole Infinity Saga, all that good stuff. We've been talking about it for a long time in a positive note, but that ended for me in 2019 when Phase 4 was announced. Some people blame the drop of quality in the Marvel Cinematic Universe due to COVID. It was already well underway before that. I think that the scene in Avengers Endgame where all of the women kind of converge on the battlefield, that big statement, political statement, identity politics, all that nasty, toxic stuff was thrown in there, was definitely a sign of things to come. And oh boy, did it come. So yeah, when it comes to anything Marvel, whether it's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, anything like that, I am not interested. I also don't like the fact that they turned that cinematic universe, the clue is in the title, cinematic universe, into just a giant shill operation to get people to subscribe to Disney Plus. I'm out, especially after what they did to Gina Carano and all of the other things that they've been getting involved with politics and grooming and all these other agendas and messages that they're throwing in there as well. I'm out. So that applies to a lot of the other films. So I've said it there. I'm not going to keep repeating myself. Hunger Games. This is a prequel movie from what I understand. I quite like the other ones, to be honest. Contrary to what people may think, given what I've just said about identity politics, female lead action movies can be awesome. Hunger Games, the quadrilogy, was no exception to that. I thought it was pretty good. Jennifer Lawrence, not my favourite actress, but she was pretty good in those movies, I thought. And not so keen on the second two. The first two in particular, I think, were the best. But not really liking the idea of this prequel movie and maybe spin-off movies that they're going to be doing. But who knows? I haven't seen a trailer yet. But from what I've heard about it, I don't know. It just didn't really seem to, resonate with me. Let's put it that way. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. From what I understand, that first film, because this is a sequel to that, was quite good. But I didn't watch it. And I'm not hugely into animated superhero stuff, unless it's something that I was interested in a long time ago, like Batman the Animated Series or something like that. It did look okay, though. The animation looked very good from what I understand. It was very enjoyable, even to people that aren't into Marvel movies and so on, but I'm not hugely into it. I realise it's a Sony movie, so maybe in a technicality, I could kind of enjoy it and not be worried by the fact that it's Disney Marvel. I've got an association there, but still, not really my thing. The Marvels, yeah, see my comments for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, I'm out. Oppenheimer, I'm in, count me in for this one. Yeah, definitely, I'm a big fan of Christopher Nolan movies, have been for a long time, even before it was cool to be a Christopher Nolan movie fan. Definitely something I want to go see. My co-review of The Core tends to only go watch movies if there's plenty of explosions in. Well, given the nature of this movie, I think it will have at least one big explosion in there, let's just put it that way. The trailer looks really good, the acting looks really good, the cast list looks very impressive. Cillian Murphy is an actor with a lot of range, I think. He can play a tough guy, he can play a coward, he can play a normal person, he can play a complete creep, a psycho, all these different movies that he's been in. I think he's a very underrated actor, and I'm hoping that Oppenheimer delivers. I don't see how it couldn't, given the talent that's behind it. Fast and Furious 10, I'm not really gonna go watch. I might get it if I hear good reviews. I might watch it when it comes out to buy. I do like all the previous movies, though I thought the last one, Fast and Furious 9, was a bit of a step back. I always thought that those movies kind of got better as each installment came out. Although maybe, I don't know, number 5 might be one of the best ones, but they do seem to get better as they go along progressively. Number 9 seemed to reverse the course with that. Um, so Fast and Furious 10, given what I've heard about it as well, some of the rumours, some of the things about Vin Diesel not bringing his A game to it, let's just put it that way, and the fact that Brie Larson's in it as well. I mean, I'm not going to boycott every movie that's got an actor or actress that I don't like in it, otherwise there'll be very few films that I would ever go watch. But yeah, I kind of feel like I'm kind of out with these movies now. They do feel like they've gone on for a little bit too long, but then again, you could maybe say that that was the case after number, I don't know, 6 or 7, I don't know. But I wouldn't say that. I personally really enjoyed them up till recently anyway. So moving on, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, definitely in for that one, trust me. I wasn't the biggest fan of the Mission Impossible movies till quite recently. Kind of a broader story, really. I've kind of been getting more into watching all of Tom Cruise's movies over the last couple of years, not because I was impressed by Top Gun Maverick, but just because the more of his films that I'd watched from his back catalogue, the more I realised this was a very good actor. And even in some of the lesser movies, he's always very good in them. So I've seen almost all of his films now. There's only a couple that I haven't watched. But in doing that, I did rewatch all the Mission Impossible movies last year, and I got them on 4K, and they grew on me a lot more. Even number 2, I thought was a lot better than I'd kind of given it credit for. So, and I think the last one was one of the best as well. So definitely going forward, this is gonna be a cinema visit for me. I haven't seen any of the other movies in the cinema since number 1 back in 1996. So yeah, it'll be a welcome return anyway. Showing my age there a little bit. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. It's Disney, so no, I'm not in. And also, given what they did with Star Wars, I'm definitely not in. But that aside, even if that wasn't a factor, I still wouldn't be interested after the 4th movie. I don't even count that as canon, to be honest. I love the original trilogy. Very similar situation as we have with Star Wars. It's not that it offends me. It's not that I'm boycotting it. It's just there are many franchises out there where I've just drawn the line. I did it with the X-Men. I pretty much everything up to Deadpool 2. Anything after that, I've just pretty much written off. So yeah, I'm not interested. In fact, another case in point, Aquaman. I'm sure the previous Aquaman film was okay. I've heard fairly positive reviews about it, but the DC cinematic universe, whatever it's calling itself, really just alienated me after Suicide Squad. I just wrote them off. You can see my previous reviews because I did go back, because I'm not one that's stuck in my ways. I did challenge my own opinions, and I did go back last year and rewatch the Zack Snyder trilogy, including the Justice League that Zack Snyder kind of reworked. And I enjoyed them for what they were. I talked about them separately, so I can kind of look at them as their own 3 movies. I realise this is a dead franchise now anyway, given that James Gunn has basically said that they're ending it all anyway. There's going to be a few more movies that are just going to basically go nowhere after they've been made. So it's a dying franchise, or maybe even a dead franchise. I wasn't really following it anyway, so I won't be going to see Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom. Ant-Man and the Wasp, see my previous comments about Disney Marvel. Wonka, not my kind of thing. I think I've seen the original one, not the original one. I mean, I have seen that, but I did see the Tim Burton original one when that came out. It was a bit zany, it was quite artistic and all, but yeah, not really my thing. John Wick Chapter 4, definitely up for that. Traditionally, I usually go see these with John Bailey, who we've seen on the channel in recent weeks. We've got a bit of a tradition of going to see John Wick movies at the cinema. I think all but the first one anyway, we saw them at the cinema. So we're planning on going to see John Wick Chapter 4. I know my co-review of The Core isn't quite as favourable about these movies as I am. He does seem to. He says he gets bored with the action scenes, which is a bit crazy. Even he admits it's crazy that you get bored with action scenes. They do tend to drag on a bit too long, in his opinion. I can see what he means. I'm hoping that this movie isn't just action porn. I didn't think the last ones were, but there were times when it was just kind of like, yeah, can we just move the plot along a little bit, please? It's just kind of getting a little bit boring. Sounds almost sinful to say that, but yeah, I don't know. Um, Transformers, yeah, nah, not really interested. I saw the first one when that came out in 2007. Yeah, just really not for me. I think Michael Bay can do better. I think he deserves a lot more credit than he gets, to be honest, does Michael Bay. I think he's kind of got a bit of a shtick with a lot of his movies, but then again, he's done some pretty good ones as well over the years. He's pretty much a clone of a director called Tony Scott. That's actually Ridley Scott's brother. He did a lot of movies in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, and then he passed away, sadly, 10 years ago or so. And if you watch his movies and compare them to Michael Bay, the aesthetics of them, very similar, which is a good thing, I think. Like I say, Michael Bay is a good director. He's just done some pretty bad ones and been attached to some pretty crappy franchises, but people do like them. I realise that. I mean, obviously, that's why they keep making them. People keep going back to see them. If that's your thing, that's your thing, but it's just not mine. So there you go. Dune Part 2. I should probably watch them. I've not seen the original Dune film, and I've not seen the last one that they did. I don't know. It didn't really entice me into watching it from looking at the trailers and from what I know about the original David Lynch film. But then again, if I actually watched it, if I got off my arse and watched it, I might enjoy it. So I don't know. What do you think? Leave a comment. The Flash, nah. Ezra Miller, complete bell end, and also it is it's a DC movie, which I'm just out. I'm not doing those. Creed 3, interesting one. I might go see that. It depends. It does look quite good from the trailer. I loved Creed 1. Creed 2, I liked a lot, but I didn't love it as much as Creed 1. I thought that they were both very good, though. I know there's been some issues with Stallone, though, and it does sound like he's been kind of crapped on a lot over this. I'm not usually one to boycott a film. It might seem that way given some of the things I've said about previous ones, but it's just, if they're making bad films, I won't go see them, and I guess at that point it does become a boycott. But if Creed 3 is good, I think I will go see it. I think of the strength of the others and the strength of the Adonis character, I think he can stand alone without having Rocky in there, although it just seems wrong, like morally wrong or something. I'm kind of conflicted on it, but I think it would be better to actually go into it from a point of not being ignorant. Don't just not watch it. If it looks good, watch it and see how it goes. You can always say, you don't want to fund films that are made in such an environment, but I don't know. I think that's beyond me, to be honest. Who am I to say? Who am I to judge? Unless there's something really bad. I mean, the previous film, The Flash, that's a film I do not want to support because Ezra Miller, it's not just that he's a bell end, it's the fact that the studios have basically tried to ignore a lot of the stuff that he's done, which is just not good at all when you actually look into it. It's not just that I don't like him, he's a very, very bad person. So, yeah, the fact that the studio might have even been involved in some shenanigans behind the scenes with that, trying to kind of cover it up a little bit, I don't know. Yeah, things like that put me off going to see a film. Creed 3, I don't think there's enough dirt on it to really make me say I'm not going to see it, if that makes sense. Super Mario Brothers movie, not interested, not my kind of thing. Cocaine Bear, I had a quick look at. Looks kind of interesting, but I don't know enough about it, so I'm not going to comment on that really. Dungeons and Dragons movie, nah, not really my thing. Big franchise movies, I try to stay away from. Shazam, again, see my previous comments about DC movies. I know the previous one had its fan base. I'm sure it was okay, but yeah, not my thing. The Little Mermaid, yeah, because I'm really going to be interested in a film like that. I realise there's been a lot of fan baiting, race baiting with the studio. Obviously, they've racially swapped the character just for the sake of clicks and controversy. so then they can call people out for being racist, and then all of a sudden everybody's talking about this movie. Free advertisement. It's a really crappy practice and one that we see all too much in entertainment nowadays. Rather than having the movie sell itself, they have to kind of give birth to it in an environment of controversy, and it's very, very wrong as well. The kind of race baiting that they're getting involved with, kind of narratives that they're setting, the precedents that they're setting, the conversations that are then kind of coming off the back of that are very much unproductive, and also it'll probably be crap as well anyway. These live action remakes of animated movies can be a bit hit and miss, and they're not my thing anyway. So, like I say, that's kind of why the first thing I said, yeah, as if I'm going to go see this movie. Craven the Hunter, not my kind of thing. Is that some kind of DC movie or something? I forget. Or Marvel, Sony Marvel, I think. Similar to the Jared Leto and Morbius, I think. Similar sort of spin-off thing, and Venom, all those others that kind of seem like they're connected, but are they really? Bit weird. But Aaron Taylor-Johnson's going to be in that, which is interesting because there's a lot of talk about him being the next James Bond. So if this movie succeeds, that could possibly jeopardise that because they could have to do sequels, and then he wouldn't be available to do James Bond movies. I don't even know if that's even like a reality, but that's something that's been talked about at the moment anyway. But not my kind of film, so I'm not going to go see it either way. Barbie, right, yeah, again, there's no way I'm going to be watching that. It has got Margot Robbie in it, which I think is a better choice for a Barbie character than Amy Schumer, who was originally attached to this movie. Obviously, that would have been a rather ironic Barbie movie, not as it has ended up being, with actually a pretty and talented woman in there. But again, not anything that I would ever go see, so not my thing. Blue Beetle, again, some kind of DC movie, but I'm not bothering with that, so I'll move on. Evil Dead Rise, I don't know much about this movie, which is shocking because I'm a big fan of the Evil Dead franchise. But there's been a lot of things kind of spun off and that over the years, and some of it's been good, some of it's been not so good. I kind of need to know more before I form an actual opinion. I could go one way or the other, so I'm hesitant to say here. I might do a video with my co-reviewer, The Core, because we've done plenty of videos talking about Evil Dead over the years. Again, going back to the founding of the channel, one of the very first videos, one of the first 5 videos I did was about the Evil Dead franchise. So again, I kind of need to do a little bit more before I can say too much on that. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, all Topher special honey jokes aside. Looks like an interesting concept. Again, I don't really know too much about it other than the trailer and that, but it looks interesting. If it turns out to be a good movie, which I kind of doubt it will be, I might go see it. So, Scream 6, what the hell? Scream 6, bloody hell. I think I missed a chapter because I kind of gave up after number 4. I did like Scream 4, to be honest. I kind of wrote it off because when it came out, was it 2010-ish? A lot of people said that it was crap, don't go watch it. And then years later, I mean, really, it was about 3 or 4 years ago, I actually gave it a chance and watched Scream 4, and I quite liked it. Scream 5, on the other hand, yeah, I actually looked into that and did not like the sound of that at all. Definitely count me out. Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, I don't know what that is. I love the original 2 Ninja Turtles movies, the live action ones. Wasn't a fan of the third one, obviously. It kind of gets dumped on quite a lot, but it wasn't very good. There's been some animated stuff over the years, haven't watched any of it. There was the Michael Bay produced one, I think, was it from a few years ago? That was okay. It wasn't as bad as it kind of looked, but I didn't go back to watch the sequel to that. I don't know what this is, but yeah, I'll check it out. Again, I need to know a bit more, but it's probably not the kind of thing I would watch. Knock at the Cabin, no idea what that is. Killers of the Flower Moon. I'm going to try to speed through this because there's a lot on here. I don't know much about these. Renfield, what's that? No idea. Looks like Steve Coogan. Am I right? Meg, well, The Meg 2, The Trench. I love the first film. It came out a few years ago. I'm definitely up for going to see this. I realised it was kind of like a big budget B movie, possibly a propaganda movie for the Chinese state, but yeah, I kind of brushed that aside and enjoyed it for what it was. I'm a big Statham fan, obviously, so I thought that last one was very good, and he is in this. I believe it is a cinema movie. I could be wrong, but I believe it is. And also a lot of the original cast that survived the first film return, from what I understand, which is a hallmark of a good sequel usually. So yeah, count me in for that, definitely. 65, something with Adam Driver, something to do with aliens that came to Earth, but back when there were dinosaurs and these aliens looked like humans or something. Interesting. I need to watch the trailer for it again before I say any more. I haven't got around to that yet, but yeah, possibly we'll see about that. Equalizer 3, is that a thing? Is that even real? I don't even know if that's. I think that might be bullshit. From what I'm aware, they're not doing an Equalizer 3, or it's not in production, or they're not filming it. I could be completely wrong. If they are doing that, I'm definitely up for that, because I do like those first. In fact, I really like those first two movies. A big Denzel Washington fan. Not to do a David Brent from The Office. But yeah, Denzel Washington is one of the great ones. A bit like Tom Cruise, basically. He's got a long legacy of great movies, and even in some of the films that he's done that haven't been so good, he's been very good in them. I think there's really only one Denzel Washington film that I've ever watched that I said, this movie's dog shit. I can't even remember the name of it. It was always Ryan Reynolds anyway. But point is, anyway, big Denzel Washington fan. So if this is happening, count me in. That's going to be a cinema trip for me. Same with Expendables 4. Again, I hope that is a cinema movie. I could be wrong. But from what I understand, a lot of the original cast are returning for that. So Stallone is in it. Whether or not it's as big a role or whatever, I'm not sure. I was following Jason Statham's Instagram back last year, I think it was, when he was posting photographs of this and videos, behind the scenes footage, that kind of stuff. I don't know if there's a trailer for this yet. I really should look that up, because I'm a big fan of those last three movies. Even the third film didn't get as good reviews, but if you watch the uncut version, it's a lot better than the cinema release was, that was a bit toned down. So I'm looking forward to number 4, even if it is a straight-to-video movie. I'll still be checking it out. Napoleon, I haven't seen anything of that, so I can't say. The Exorcist, is that a remake? I don't know. Haunted Mansion, well, I see a Disney logo there, so they can piss off. Elemental, no. Rebel Moon, Asteroid City. Oh, yeah. Rebel Moon, Asteroid City, I don't know anything about. Plane looks like an interesting one. I think it was done by the same people that did the Angel Has Fallen movies, all those ones that it's a trilogy, isn't it? I can't remember what they were, what they all called. But yeah, it was Angel Has Fallen, and the other ones that came out, London Has Fallen. I quite like them. It's from the same director or producer or whatever of those movies, from what I understand. I did see a trailer when I went to see Violet Night, and I thought it looks okay. I don't know if it'll be a cinema trip, but probably one that I'll check out anyway. It's got Gerard Butler, and I can't remember the name of the actor, but he played Luke Cage, and he's a really good actor. I can't remember his name. I haven't really seen him much. Star Trek 4, yeah, this list is kind of talking bollocks. As far as I'm aware, there is no Star Trek 4 being made. So, yeah, the fact that it's got the poster for Star Trek Beyond there makes me think that's bullshit. Extraction 2. I've heard good things about the first Extraction movie, but I've not seen it, so I need to remedy that. So, again, I can't comment, but maybe this will prompt me to actually watch that. Operation Fortune, Ruse de Dieu. I don't know if I've pronounced that correctly, but this is a Guy Ritchie movie which interests me, which isn't something that I've said, well, I hadn't said until recent years. Obviously, did The Gentleman, which was a film that Hugh Grant was in, and I actually liked Hugh Grant in that movie as well, which is an achievement. And that came out in, was it late 2019, early 2020, I think. Very good film. He was back on form, was Guy Ritchie as a director. And then in 2021, he did the film Wrath of Man, or Cash Truck, as it was also known in some countries. I think it was a remake of a film called Cash Truck. I got a 4K import of it, and it was called Cash Truck. But more widely known as Wrath of Man, that was a Statham movie. That was the first film that Guy Ritchie and Jason Statham had done together since 2005 with Revolver. And that was a very good film, was Wrath of Man. Didn't feel too much like a Guy Ritchie film, though. It felt more like just this kind of generic Jason Statham action movie, which is good, because I like those movies. So it's good. This one, it's got again Jason Statham in, and it's looks a bit more like The Gentleman, that kind of caper movie, going back to Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch, those great ones. Some would say some of the best British films that we've seen. So I'm looking forward to seeing this. I just don't know when it's actually out. It's been There's been a trailer out there for this for ages. I don't even know if it's getting a cinema release or what, but I'm looking forward to seeing it one way or the other. The Colour Purple, wasn't that originally a Spielberg movie? I seem to recall, but it's not one that I probably watch anyway. Bowie's Afraid, Maestro, no idea what they are. The Killer, don't know what that is. Peter Pan and Wendy, I see a Disney logo, so piss off. Infinity Pool, again, don't know what that is. So, that's pretty much it. I've rambled on for quite a bit anyway. I hope I haven't bored you too much. I realise this video hasn't been too kind of visually exciting, just me scrolling through this list, but that's my thoughts on these movies. Let me know what you think in the comments. These are just my own opinions, and it's very subjective, I realise. So, yeah, let us know what you think. If there's anything that maybe that isn't on this list that you want to suggest, throw that in there as well, because I'm hoping to get to the cinema more this year. Not for the sake of it, but I'm hoping that there'll be some good stuff to go out, because I do miss those days when we used to be able to go to the cinema and really have a good time, and that's getting rarer and rarer now. So I will leave it there.